Well, they say all stories start somewhere, and most of my stories start with poor financial decisions. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to take a quick second to show you guys the new project that we brought home in lieu of other projects that we already have going on the channel, like my King Cobra, the 82 GT. This is another one. This one's going to be set off for quite a while, but still something worth mentioning. So what you're looking at here is a beautiful, pristine 1988 Mustang Cobra. And for those of you who are longtime viewers of the channel, you'll know that I have a soft spot for these cars. My dad had one of these. We rode it all the time growing up. Obviously his was a lot nicer than this one and this one. Obviously we still have it to this day. He ended up giving it to my younger brother. That's why my dad and I built my King Cobra, which a lot of you have seen on the channel. So that has left me wanting one of these in the worst way, and obviously trying to find one that is in good shape is very expensive. So the next best thing is to buy one that's not in good shape and make it nice. So as of right now, my plans for this, obviously we're going to restore it eventually. It will be a nice car. It will not be black and green again, because Shannon's car is black and green. Not really sure what color we're going to do this. There's a lot of different colors you get with these cars. Basically every color you could get these cars in, you could get them in a Cobra as well. So they had black and green, black and blue, red on red, white on green, white on blue. They had them in orange, red, white, green, you know, and basically any color you could want. I think there was like something like 20 different color variations you could get with different colored snake packages and colors of the car. One thing unique to the Cobra though is that the bottom of the car will be black. That's the way they all came from the factory. Obviously the blacks, it's all black, but this generation Cobra you could only get in 80 and 81. There's obviously the 79 as well, but the 79 is a little bit different. It doesn't have the ground effects package. It does have the hood snake. It's a cross in between a King Cobra and, you know, the 80 to 81 Cobra. So, but story on this car goes that this guy's mom bought the car brand new in 1980. Originally a 4-cylinder, 4-speed car, obviously a 4-cylinder turbo. Her and her husband got into a divorce. The husband actually ended up winning the car in a lawsuit in an unforeseen turn of events. So he took the car in the divorce, swapped in an automatic C4, C6, whatever, and a 351 Cleveland, which is, you know, pretty rare anymore. This is all back in the 80s, so this probably happened, if I had to guess, 85 through 90, somewhere in that time frame. He had the car for 5 or 6 years from what I heard, and then when he was about ready to pass away, he gave the car back to her, doing the right thing, obviously, giving her her car back. And then I don't know if the motor was already out of it at that point or what happened, but essentially the car ended up sitting and has sat basically ever since. So that's a real shame. So it's a real shame. Car basically went to waste. She didn't get to drive it for that long, neither did he, and then, you know, it sat forever and then ends up here. So that's the real limited history that I have on this car. I know that it was in a flood at some point. I don't know if that was before or after the fact. As you can tell, it is pretty rough, but there's a big but here. It does have a pretty good foundation, so you're gonna have to do something with that. But car was actually pretty well optioned. Factory Recaros, even though there's not much left of them. Cruise control, only options it didn't have was the air conditioning, and then no hood snake. So as you can tell, this car is pretty far gone. Major reason we picked this up is Shannon wanted the Recaros, and then I've been looking for a shell for a very long time, preferably a VIN that was a Cobra. Obviously she is pretty rough, does need a lot of love to ever get back to being roadworthy again. A lot of dings, dents, scratches, but that's nothing for us. As you know, we have the utilities to fix that kind of stuff. Obviously his door's pretty beat up, but the parts that matter, they're all in good shape. The frame rails are all in good shape, shock towers, all of that stuff still pretty good. Does have those few little rust holes in the floor. Rockers are still in good shape for the most part. Does have a little bit of rust back here in the quarters. That's nothing we're sneezing over. They obviously make all the patch panels for these now. But the main things worth noting is that it doesn't need floors, it doesn't need shock towers, and it doesn't need rail. You know, the rest of it's superficial, the rest of it can be fixed. As long as you don't have to do the big in-depth surgery, that's really all that matters in my opinion. I know you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh my God, how much could you have possibly paid for this fucking turd? And I'll have you know, pick this rig up for 150 bucks. The guy got it from his mom, obviously. I'm not sure if his mom's around anymore. I didn't ask. He took the hood and the nose cone off of it. So he obviously left the fender extensions, even though he did kind of fuck them up. These are really hard to find, and the ones that you can find are very expensive. And then he obviously cut the horns off for the bumper bar. We weren't really hurting on this one. Gonna have to go through the trouble of getting a title for this one because it went through a few hands in a few different states before it got to me. So that's gonna be the main driving factor on what happens with this, is if it, you know, is turned into a parts car, or if it's turned into, you know, a car that's gonna be going down the road again. You know, as far as going for a bonded title goes, I've heard pretty good things, actually, contrary to what you may believe. They're not too hard to get. You just need to have a good story and a good bill of sale. So, you know, fingers crossed on that we do end up getting that. I will keep you up to date on this. Obviously, don't have a whole lot of news on it yet because we just picked it up. I'm not going to be doing anything in the near future, but it was worth picking up just to have on standby for when we are ready to do the project. The next thing it really needs to get done is that GT needs to get done and get out of here. Then we're going to try and get my car finished, and then we'll get on to this. Now, I know what you're thinking. It is missing the hood and it is missing the front end. Obviously, the two most valuable parts of one of these cars, but I bet you notice this one sitting here. We're gonna take the front end and everything off this because this car is very far gone. This car is not worth fixing, in my opinion. Somebody may fix it, and somebody may fix it someday, but that's not gonna be me. You know, if this was a first gen Mustang, somebody would think this is a gold mine, but this car is just too far gone. I can't justify doing anything with it, unfortunately. Frame wheels are completely rotted. Torque boxes are gone, front and rear. Rocker panels are gone. Floors are gone. Doors are completely fucked up. Quarters are gone. The only redeemable feature is that it does have a good roof skin, which we'll probably end up using for that car. It does have a few good parts. I mean, there was a lot of good parts that came out of this car. This car was a perfect parts car. The Recaros that are in Shannon's car came out of this car. Obviously, the front end for that car is going to be coming off this car. The spoiler and everything, all going onto that car. So, while it is unfortunate, it has met its demise. And that's this, you know, these cars here are exactly why I preach, if you're not going to do anything with the piece of shit that you have sitting in your backyard, just get rid of it. You're going to keep telling yourself, oh, I'll do something with it eventually, and then you basically waste a car. And with these cars being as hard to find as they are, you know, that's the biggest shame, is that these cars probably could have been saved, but somebody kept telling themselves, oh no, we'll get to it eventually, but they never do. They just end up sitting in a garage, sitting in a field somewhere, just rotting away. And this one, unfortunately, is not going to be able to be fixed. Somebody may be able to fix it, but somebody's not going to be me. And if I'm not willing to fix it, you got to know that it's pretty well gone. So my plans for this car, as of now, I have been looking for a car to make into a street car race car for quite a while now. For those of you that have been watching my build with the King Cobra, that's getting pretty far out of hand pretty fast. You know, obviously, anybody who's gone fast with the car, you know the addiction. You just keep wanting to make it faster and faster, and when you do that, you just make them less and less drivable. And obviously, with that car being a Mustang 2, it's very hard to make go fast. I've had to make everything myself. And then obviously knowledge with you know how that stuff works is pretty limited. I'm having to rely on other people, having to try and figure stuff out on my own, which is sometimes fun, and when it ends up working out in the end, it is fun, but getting there is a struggle. So these cars, Fox bodies, there's everybody and their brother knows how to make Fox bodies go fast. It's a pretty easy combo. It works out pretty well most of the time. So, you know, they make a ton of parts to these. So I say race car, I want to make it a street car that is also a race car, street car that can go fast. My goal is to go 8s, which should be pretty easy with the setup that I have coming. So the setup as of now is going to be twin turbo Coyote with an automatic. So if this kind of turd is something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing to the channel. So if seeing clapped out turds is something you'd be interested in, I do recommend subscribing to the channel. I got a lot of good stuff like this coming. This obviously being the next big project we're going to end up doing. A few things you can look forward to in the immediate future. Finishing up the stuff with the King Cobra. Main thing, getting the GT out of here. That's the big thing. We got to get that done. That's going to leave here soon. That'll be a good video coming for that. If you like the video, please like the video. If you do have any comments or questions, consider leaving a comment down below. But that's going to do it for this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Y'all take care now.